Hello guys, girls, and everyone in between. This is Rebellious Pastry here, and I was gonna have this be part of part 2, but it ended up being so long, and I also forgot a good handful of details, so this is going to be the part where I start telling you about my managers and drivers. I'm gonna start by telling you all about my bosses at Johnny Jams. I had this really young dude by the name of Keegan, who, for being the age he did a good job. Really nice, but then left after my first few weeks because he was able to start his dream job. Another manager, which I didn't really get to work with much, by the name of James, but I did a few shifts with him. He was pretty chill for the most part. There was another person that I didn't really get to work that much with by the name of Cole. I could have put him in my coworkers video, but he got manager when I was at Johnny Jams, and even when he was an employee, I felt like he was more of a manager to me. He was also really young and really chill. And then there's Nate. I mentioned him in my coworkers video, but now in this video, I will get more time to describe him. He's the sub shop guy that has worked at so many sub shops, and it's really surprising to me. He was the general manager for another Johnny Jams location in our area. My first day with him, I was kind of nervous for no reason. It was probably the whole boss-employee thing, and I quickly learned that he's just the odd guy that makes noises. And he's also a cartoonist, and is really nice, and can take a joke, and has taken me seriously before. When I've had a horrible time, he was able to salvage most of my days that started out rough for me, and hugged me at the end of each shift. That's all I'm saying about him for this video. I will probably end up making a whole nother Johnny Jams part about this guy. There was the main boss guy that was also very chill, but he had more of the man in charge vibe to him. Just do your job and do your best, and he will be really happy with you. Also, Nate had to go to another store due to having a situation that he didn't have control over. But Nate, if you're watching, I know this isn't your fault for leaving us, and hopefully we can collaborate more in the future. The guy that replaced Nate was also pretty cool. His name was Anthony, but he sometimes wants people to call him Twan. And he is also more likely to watch this video because when I met him, I wanted to get to know him better. And let's face it, those days I was either at school, work, or working on videos for the channel. So when it comes to getting to know me those days, all I could tell ya was the fact I did storytime animations on YouTube due to the time that it takes me to make videos. So how I approached this was by asking him if he watched Storytime Animators, and asked him about the big names, and also asked him who his favorite was. He told me it was a smaller channel, and I am, and still am, a relatively small channel. I was like 400 subscribers when I met the dude, and then I told him that I was a small animation channel. I also had this guy by the name of Mike. He is the type of guy who seems like a child at heart, that has had many interesting jobs before this one, and also takes the time to be entertained by the bubbles in the dish pit. He also helped me grab the tall people stuff, like the cup refills. He was originally a driver that also took managing shifts. Him and I got along really well. He told me one day that I could call him anything that starts with M, so I came up with the nickname of Macaroni and Cheese, which wasn't his favorite nickname, but put up with it. And that's why I didn't necessarily introduce him as Macaroni and Cheese. He became the general manager. For periods of time, different drivers would become temporary bosses since we didn't have enough manager. Mike was a driver at the start of my employment, and the general manager, the GM, at the end. And then there was Coda. She only managed because we needed more managers. Nothing content worthy happened on her shifts. And then there were the drivers that didn't manage. I'm gonna start with Simone, that watches my videos, and she was one of the drivers that I would look forward to seeing as she came back from deliveries, and we were always happy to talk with each other. There was this other driver by the name of Jazz. Jazz is just what you would expect from a guy with his name. Chill, really nice, helped my short ass out grabbing cups and other things like Macaroni did. There was also Noah, which is the type to think up of random factoids and be extremely scientific and theoretical with things, which was interesting. Later on, there was this driver by the name of Dan. He was always excited to see me. I sometimes called him Dan the Man. Then, later on in my employment, I made up the saying of Dan the Man. Do you understand the Dan Man? And then after a little while longer, I came up with the nickname of Dan the Delivery Dan since he was a driver. He was dating Aspen, which was an in-shop that I forgot to mention during my coworkers video, but she was also pretty nice. Dan and Aspen are probably still together now. I'm not quite sure though. Then there was a newer driver that ended up getting to be a manager at a different store after I left by the name of Ira. He was really nice, but gave me crap for being nice to him. So I ended up just joking around with him. There was also Sam, who was the pun man that would say, I haven't seen you since last year on New Year's Day. There was this other driver that pretty much just sat in the corner most of the time. I didn't really have much to say about them. And then last but not least, there's Nick, which he joined when I was at 1 month left. He was nice. I kind of joked around with him a bit and he joked right back. And that's all of the drivers and managers I've had. They were all really nice and really pleasant to work with. Heyo, Donut Batch. All I wish to say is thank you, guys, girls, and in-betweeners, for being patient for this video. I know for a fact it was supposed to go ahead and be posted in 2022, but I ended up just running out of time for it until now, so yeah. I bit off a ton more than I could chew, and yeah, let's just say I'm not gonna be doing that long of video anytime soon, because of just like time and life and stuff. I platonically love you, my Donut Batch, and see you in the future to come.